Hey, Justin with Certified Property Inspection here again. So I'm going to paint a picture for you. You've been working with your awesome realtor to find a house, and you've been going to showings and checking stuff out, and they've been sending you listings, and finally you found the perfect house, and you submitted an offer, and you guys crossed your fingers, and then you got that exciting phone call. Yes, the offer was accepted, and we're going to be able to get this house. Awesome. Your realtor is probably going to say the next thing we got to do is schedule our inspections. We want to get an inspection company out there to check everything out for us to make sure everything looks good. And a lot of times folks kind of think about a home inspector and then the thinking sort of stops, right? But there's a lot of other parts of the house that need more investigation, need a little more thorough look than what would be encompassed in a home inspection. Now, as Jeff talked about in a previous video, a home inspector does a lot. Looks at the house top to bottom, inside and out, roof to foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC system, we check all the stuff inside the house. But some things aren't able to be seen without some more investigation. And one of those things is the main sewer drain. So this is the drain from the house that actually connects to the public system. If you're anywhere in town and you get a water and sewer bill, you have a main sewer drain. And guess what? Even though it's not inside your house, you still own it. And a lot of times, that thing isn't covered even under your insurance policy unless you add an extra rider. So it's always good to talk to your insurance folks to make sure that you've got the coverage that you need. But that thing that runs from your house to the public connection is your responsibility. And guess what? As home inspectors, no matter how thorough we are, we can't climb inside that pipe and take a look at it for you. However, there is a way that we can do that, and it's what we call a camera sewer inspection. So we'll find the clean out inside the house, we'll take that cap off. Sometimes we even need to remove a toilet because there is no accessible clean out in an older home. And then we have specialized cameras that we can send down there, and we can actually investigate and look at the inside of that pipe. Because guess what? If your house is 75 years old, chances are that main sewer pipe is also 75 years old, and it could be cast iron and starting to corrode. A lot of them are totally fine, but the ones that aren't, it can be a real problem for you. Was I supposed to be doing the chimney? So it just dawned on me that I was supposed to be talking about chimneys and not the main sewer camera inspection. Luckily for us, Jeff is here, and he is going to tell us a story about a sewer problem that he actually experienced, and can talk about the importance of checking out the main sewer drain. So Jeff, tell the folks what's going on.
So as you all know, I'm a home inspector, right? About 4 years ago, my wife and I bought a property because we were getting ready to downsize, and I took a gamble. That's what we do, especially during a home inspection, because I'm thinking, I know what's going on, no big deal. We got the house, it looks gorgeous, the whole shooting match, and then we got in the house about 2 months, and up from the ground comes a bubbling crude. To be perfectly blunt, that's what's happening. I never scoped my sewer line because the way I looked at it, it was going out back. I could see where the sewer drain connection was all the way in the back. What I didn't take into account for was the big old maple tree that had been cut down about 20 years ago had destroyed a portion of what we call clay drain tile. I had a busted sewer line. Nobody knew it. The house had been vacant, the whole works. We started using it, and the stuff that's supposed to go downhill wasn't going downhill. And so in it came. The long story short, it cost me $21,000 to fix this thing. We had to dig up a portion of our yard. I had to replace it with PVC. The stuff that was there and was really old, once I did take my camera and put down there, we had epoxy lined. So I'm not trying to sell you, or Justin, we're not trying to sell you on a sewer scope, but when houses get older, there are problems, just like anything. There's scale that goes on, there's pieces of clay that go on, tree roots get in there, maybe somebody drove over the back with a load of mulch and they cracked the pipe. So a sewer scope for me, and I had the equipment. That's the crazy part. I had the equipment and I didn't do it. Now I have a rider. For a couple $100 versus $21,000, it really might not be a bad idea if you have an aged home. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Cost me a lot of money.
And Jeff, we appreciate you sharing your personal story there. So most people, their main sewer pipe is totally fine. It's a very small percentage. Now, the older the home gets, that percentage probably gets a little bit bigger. But most people, if they decide that they want to have that sewer scope inspection performed at an additional fee, which Jeff talked about, most people, we say, yep, everything looks good. But if you're one of the few people that we find it's not the way we want it to be, it can be, as Jeff kind of alluded, a very costly expense. So a couple of words of wisdom. If you're buying an older home, really any home, even PVC, but especially if you see cast iron going down through the basement floor, chances are that pipe's pretty old and the condition may be great, but it could be problematic. It's not a bad idea to talk to your inspector about whether they think it's appropriate to check that out or not. Understand that inside of that pipe is not something we can see during a home inspection, no matter how thorough we are. We've got to have specialized tools and equipment, and we've got to set up for it, and it is kind of something else that we want to do. So talk to your inspector about whether they think it's a good idea or not. If you decide not to do it, let's at least make sure that you talk to your insurance agent so that you have the coverage. God forbid something does go wrong, you pay a deductible and you don't get stuck with a $21,000 bill. So that's the information on sewer scopes. Sorry about the little change of pace there. I was supposed to talk about chimneys and I kind of forgot and started talking about sewer scopes. So there you go, sewer scopes 101.